Hi guys, I'm Alice. Just quickly, the video that follows was filmed while I was quite drunk, and so I missed a bunch of information and also a few plants. Like, I just didn't get them down. They were sitting right there, but whatever. So I hope you enjoyed this section, and I'm going to jump back in at the end and throw some facts at ya. Okay. Same clothes. Still drunk. Second video is what the 2 was for. This one, Hoyas. I'm gonna go full Betsy on this, just steal her content entirely. But might even do a little speed up as I get them down. Pyum pyum. This is my Peepee. He's just a plain green form with a little bit of splashing. What? You can see like barely anything. When I bought it, it was supposed to be Royal Hawaiian purple, but you can see from the new growth and the tendril that it's quite green. And that could just be because I'm not giving it quite enough light, but it is in a north facing window, so whoops. Oh fuck. Yeah, no, we good. Yeah, it's in a north facing window, so you would think that would be enough. For people who are watching this in the US, my north is your south, because the sun goes through the middle of the earth, and I'm in the southern hemisphere. So yeah, like for someone in Europe or anywhere in the northern hemisphere, I've got this in a full on south facing window, like just full on south, and it's green. It's green, 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 and silver. But yeah, it was supposed to be Royal Hawaiian purple. So I've got a Royal Hawaiian purple splash coming, which should be more silver and more purple. So, well, we shall see. I've got Hoya Bata. You can see it's a little bit funky. And the same for my carry-eye. It's like quite a slim heart, but you can see this heart that was on the from the cutting originally is quite round, so I've got high hopes, you know, high hopes, but yeah, slim and quite wrinkly. And then this is my Bovada, which again, quite slim, quite wrinkly. These newer leaves are even more wrinkly, so that's great. When I first got it, it did have this little offshoot, which was free, but now I've rooted it because I had it, fucking hell. Because when I first got it, I don't know if it rotted at the base. It was right in the window, and it sort of looked like it had, what do you call it? Like burnt, and then maybe rotted a little bit. I don't know, I wasn't really sure what was going on, but I just put a ton of sphagnum around the base and made sure I got this little offshoot. I pinned it down with a bobby pin, and made sure that they both rooted again, which they now have. So that's great. Hasn't really helped the appearance though. Quite a funky little fucker. But I mean, I don't know if anybody has seen Betsy Begonia's original obovata, and it was quite funky like that. And she got a new one, and it's great. Whatever, Alice, shut up. Just let people watch her videos. But I haven't ever really seen quite a young cutting look good and perfect and rounded. They often seem to start out quite funky, and then as the cutting matures and gets longer and bigger and it has more energy, they tend to get a more circular leaf. So I'm hoping that that's what will happen. Otherwise I'll just like grow it out funky and swap it. So this is Hoya excavator. I was gonna say fungi, but it's not. It's excavator, and I might try and insert some images of flowers and mature leaves, but this guy gets quite a paddle-shaped leaf and less of a point to it, and very large. This guy is actually one that I wasn't really sure if I wanted, but I love him now. He's got these little recurved leaves. If I can, yeah, you can sort of see how rounded the actual leaf is. It's sort of like breviolata, which has more of a circular and recurved leaf, and it sort of looks like one of the anti-type ones, but it's really small and cute, and just, it's a nice one. I like it. It's probably one of my faves. This is one that came today. It is Hoya postiflora, and it has a flower quite similar to retusa, just a single white flower and sort of a similar growth pattern. It was sold on eBay, and it was listed as Hoya retusa, and I knew it wasn't. Like, the leaves are quite different to retusa. But I was like, oh, I'll try it because it wasn't expensive or anything. Yeah, and then the seller got back to me and they're like, oh, it's not retusa, it's postiflora. And I was like, yeah, cool, great. Still love it. It's just a really sort of sparse one. Quite cute. Now, I will just say, I do want to say, for anyone who is into Hoyas in Australia and you haven't found Hoya Store Australia, baby, you're missing it. Everything I have here, actually maybe not the Obtusifolia and the Carrii, I think they were from somewhere else, but everything else is not that either. Anyway, lots of things. The entire order that I will probably unbox is from Hoya Store Australia, and they're just amazing, and they restock quite intermittently, so I haven't noticed any trend in when to go on and when's a good time, but they do get some good shit coming through. Just noticing one guy who sits my chapati seems to have a little bit of mold, but he does sit really, 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 really close to the humidifier. You can see this leaf here is one he's working on. It is kind of long, I guess, but his original leaves are like, oofed. Actually, probably not that much longer, but they're a much healthier looking leaf. He sort of grows a bit like, I don't know if you guys have ever seen climbing bamboo. But it's this guy sort of looks like that. Hoya chapati sort of looks like climbing bamboo. Quite sparse, kind of woody, kind of grassy, but the leaves are actually quite quite thick. Anyway, it's been the slowest growing. It's one of the first ones that I got, and it has had this bit for a long time. It had a bit of stem out, like about, you know, out to there, another couple of nodes maybe, and that died off, and then he stopped dying off, and I was like, oh good, I must be doing something right, because I moved in front of the humidifier. And that actually looks like a tiny peduncle, but it is hard to say. You probably cannot see it, that bit on the end of that node before the dying bit. Yeah, and then just in the last couple of weeks I've been working on this new leaf, which looks like absolute trash. It's got a bunch of dents in it. I don't know. He's a tricky motherfucker. But yeah, like I was saying, Hoya Store Australia is the best. They're amazing. Like, it's hard to explain because I've seen, you know, big box store buying whatever's videos, and there's like a million different types of Hoya, and they're all in these massive baskets. But here in Australia, you could maybe get a carnosa in a big basket if you were really lucky. At least in my area, you just don't see Hoya. There is this one company which sells them, and they have a little number on them and the species, and you used to see them a lot, but that was before I was really into Hoyas. Now they still have them at my local garden centre, that brand, but it never seems to change, you know, what's in them. It's always a Sangiai and a Gentiana or a Waedia or whatever. You never see good shit. And the only place online you can get some stuff on eBay occasionally, there's something weird, but mostly it's Hoya Store Australia. And even this company that brands these Hoyas and has them everywhere, they don't have an online store. They have an eBay, but they don't have a half of what they actually have in their collections, and it's so annoying. But yeah, that's why most of my stuff has come from Hoya Store Australia, except this guy. This is my Hoya polynaura. He's a baby. He's just 2 cuttings, but he's recently started growing on the tip of this one. And I cannot make you be still, but you can sort of see on the tip that he started growing there, and that's amazing. I haven't had him that long. He wasn't from Hoya Store Australia. I did order one from them once, but when it came time to ship it, they looked at it and they were like, you know, that's not looking great, we can't sell that, and they gave me a refund, which is cool of them, you know, but I needed it, so I went somewhere else. I don't even fucking remember. Wait, I thought this was Hoya Erythrina. Yeah, it is. This is Hoya Erythrina. He's sort of done a lot more growing, and there's a epiphyllum in the back, but you can see he's got quite thin leaves, but still quite succulent, and I don't worry about him. To start with, I had him quite close to the humidifier because he does have thin leaves. He doesn't seem to mind. You can see here again, I was worried about it to start with because he started to die off in the tendril, but that once it got to a node, it just stopped. And you can see just here that there is actually a new leaf coming from that node, or maybe a couple of leaves, just above my finger there. So that's really cool. He's done quite a lot of, yeah, like I said, growing at the base, but not from this original tendril. So that's pretty fun. Now, here's where we get serious. Oh, trying to, Alice, you drunk. Let's get serious while you jump. But, nonetheless, this is a Hoya Lochner. Adorable, cute, great, love it. Easy so far, but it's quite new. Seems to have some kind of snail or slug damage. Is that a... Yep, that was a scale. Alice, have you even looked at your Hoyas in the last week? Anyway, Hoya Store Australia. Great, amazing, wonderful. I got this guy from them. It's a single cutting, but it's a double branched, or even almost tripled branched. And it came with a fucking peduncle, which is amazing because I have all these. It feels like a lot of Hoyas. It's probably not really that many, but I have all these Hoyas. And I bought them all, obviously, but I've never bought one with a peduncle on it, so that's really great. People who don't know, I'm sure everybody knows by now, but the peduncle, which, if we get some of that light out of the way, it's quite blurry, isn't it? Anyway, you've probably all seen one, and I'm explaining this for no reason, but a peduncle is, well, a persistent peduncle. And that's the important part. People are always like, oh, Hoyas are so cool, they have a peduncle. And I'm like, so do a lot of plants, you know, that's not the important part. It's that it's persistent. So let me think. Any plant that has more than one flower coming to a single stem before it joins the main stem, that's a peduncle. So a lot of begonia, they'll have an inflorescence, which is multiple flowers, which are joined by pedicels, not as important, which then connect to a peduncle. And there's a fuck ton of different types of inflorescence, and they've all got different names, and that's not super important until we get to people who say that that is a pinnacle. And I don't know if any of you have heard this, I don't know if any of you give a shit, but it tits me. It tits me hard. Alright? So there is this guy on YouTube. You should watch him. He's amazing. Doug Chamberlain from Vermont, Hoyas, Canada, or whatever. Now he has explained it in at least one video that I've seen, and he says that's just like his accent, that's just the way he says it. He is saying peduncle because he's got sort of a nasally voice, or he's Canadian, I don't know. But it sounds like he's saying pinnacle. And Hoyas do not have a panicle. They have a peduncle, which then, they have a persistent peduncle. So it stays on the plant and flowers again and again and again and again. In begonias, they have a peduncle. Most of them, I would imagine. but it falls off. It's not persistent, and that's it. It flowers once, it's done. Hoyas have a persistent peduncle which flowers again and again and again. From that peduncle, on pedicels, an umbel is formed. But a panicle, okay, so like I said, there's different types of inflorescence. Hoyas produce an umbel. A panicle is quite different. And I'll try and find an image that explains it easily, but Hoyas have an umbel. So it is completely incorrect to say that Hoyas have a panicle. And if your nasal passage allows it, you should pronounce peduncle, 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 pedophile, uncle, or if you're British, pedo uncle, so pedo uncle, no, peduncle, not panicle.